Hey, hello everybody. I would think that we'd be playing Gods Will Be Watching, but I've started the stream, and the game hasn't loaded yet. Today I also... it's probably because Steam has not finished syncing yet, so just bear with me with a little bit, and we'll get this up and running shortly. So today I went out and bought a special mic stand. I'm no longer quite contorting myself into odd shapes to stream. I still don't have an ideal setup as far as where the computer is, and I'd like to... Honestly, I'd prefer to stand if I could. But I think I can sustain a slightly longer stream without completely turning into a hunchback. There we go. So I'm not going to subject you to the starvation mission again. I actually wound up beating that on the bus home. I kind of wanted to do the whole game on stream, but especially after last night where basically we had a winning run, which was cut short because of the fact we didn't have ammunition. And if I can't remember if it was that run or one that I'd done before, but like the ammo that was used was also unintentional. I meant to use a spear instead of rifle rounds. So, for completeness, the run that I did this afternoon on the bus, that one was basically the same as the last run I did yesterday, save for the fact that one, we kept ammunition, and the doctor wound up getting the Medusa virus before the end of the run, and so I had to kill him for meat at the end. But otherwise it was basically everything that you have seen before. So, sorry I denied you the opportunity to see that level being passed, but I didn't think there was anything that special going on. This game is also a little finicky as far as the way it handles full screen mode, so I just gotta play around with it a little bit. There we go. So we move on to Chapter 5, Legend. I have something to eat. Well, I guess I should do the narration. Why do I feel like they've already died? I need a vacation. It's great to have you all back. Sorry, there's no time to rest, but the situation is critical. Xenolifer? Yes. What the hell are those assholes after now? Genocide. What? Liam, it can't be possible. Stop worshipping that terrorist, Sergeant. They made it clear in their demands. The Constellar Federation must abolish alien slavery, or they will unleash the Medusa virus across the entirety of Gactus 7. But Gactus 7 is one of the planets with the highest rate of slaves over humans. What do they want to do? Free them by killing them? Not at all. They were after the Medusa virus from the beginning, since it only affects mammals. Their objective is to create a free world for aliens, making the planet uninhabitable for human beings. Okay, this should be easy then. We destroy Xenolifer's mothership. Problem solved. Those demands were made a week ago. The Constellar Federation refuses to negotiate with terrorists. And the Medusa virus became airborne 37 hours ago. There's no need to panic here. I know the cure. We can make an antidote now. I'm afraid it's not that easy. Xenolifer developed a genetically encrypted mutation of the virus. Xenomedusa, they call it, and only they have the antidote. How many people are at risk? 4 billion. Damn it, Liam! They're still open to negotiate. If the Constellar Federation accepts their demands, Xenolifer will launch the antidote into Gactus 7's atmosphere. No, they won't accept. The Constellar Federation never negotiates. For them, Gactus 7 is just another piece on their board. I'll bet anything they'll even use the tragedy as propaganda. So that's it, I guess. We aren't superhuman, Burden. There's nothing else we can do here. We should get some rest and focus on how to stop Xenolifer in the future. No. I'll go. I'm gonna stop them. You are insane. Let me go with you, Burden. No, not this time. This is a one-man mission. This is suicide. You should have gotten used to suicide missions by now, Jack. I'm finishing the calculations now. You should collide with Xenolifer's mothership in 2 hours and 29 minutes. I don't have the exact data on the integrity of the Matriarch's hull, but you have approximately a 32% chance of surviving the crash. Burden, are you sure you still want to proceed? 32%? That's a gift from the gods in the face of saving 4 billion lives. So let me get this straight. You're going to fire yourself out into space, piloting a one-man cruiser headed toward the Matriarch, aiming directly at the core labs of the ship. Retrieve the antidote, and then manually fire it into Gactus 7's atmosphere. Exactly. And you're saying this isn't a suicide mission? Yes. What about being inside a collapsing spaceship surrounded by enemy forces? I'll figure it out. In case you haven't guessed, Burden is a little bit of a badass. Thank you for everything, Burden. We owe you our lives. Through all the pain, suffering, and success, it's been an honor, Sergeant. Woof. Okay, Brandon, say goodbye to everybody. You're going with the Sergeant. My AI module will allow me to commandeer the droid rocket, allowing me to disperse the antidote's reactive agents over the planet's atmosphere. That means I won't come back. 100% sure. I am so glad to have been of service until the end. Goodbye, everybody. Okay, you're ready to go. Burden, while Brandon is connected to your spacesuit, he can provide useful intel during the mission. At this point, you should at least feel sorry for doubting him all those months ago before Ciencios. Gods, Donald, you are a rancorous nerd. Just try to come back alive to honor Brandon's heroic sacrifice. Sure. Sergeant, go and kick some Xenolifer ass. Goodbye, team. We'll meet again in this life or the next. Brandon, are you seeing this? Outer space. An endless sea of scattered dust in a vast veil of darkness. I don't know why, but this cold void feels like home. It's hard not to feel completely insignificant in the face of all this darkness. Have you ever considered your purpose, Brandon? What it means to exist in this vast darkness? Out here, it makes you wonder what 4 billion lives really mean. Just another white dot. One of a million pinpricks of light, each one indifferent to its inhabitants. Millions of points of light so far in the future that they have already died. Why did I spend my whole life protecting them? What am I protecting exactly? I spent my whole life fighting and I don't even know why. In fact, I can't even remember anything beyond fighting. I never had a home. We weren't so different, you and I, Brandon. You and I are the same. I too have never known childhood. It's like I've only existed to save the world again and again. Not for duty, respect for life, or any human values. I'm like Marvin. I just can't stop chasing after that damn stick. This cause is the only thing that's ever felt true. And as long as the gods keep tossing that stick, I'll keep bringing it back. This meaningless world. So if you don't get the exact combination, you starve to death? Go west, young man. not thirsty. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of plot stuff coming up right now. I guess one of the things we can talk about, I was thinking today, actually, sorry, I have a small snack, so forgive me for a moment. I'm going to get a little bit to eat, and then we can talk about streaming and other interesting things. Of course there's dialogue. Just one sec. Freeze. Identify yourself. Where am I? What is this place? Are you wearing an Everdusk spacesuit? Yeah, the Nebula... I had an accident? I don't know, sir. You're on the desert planet of Legion and in the middle of a war. We fight for the Constellar Federation, of course. I see. How can I help? Sir, you just survived what should have been a fatal orbital shipwreck, and you're telling me you're ready for action? I heard Everdusk was full of puny nerds. By the gods, I was wrong. Was there a point to all this, soldier? Your insignia denotes sergeant, sir, so technically you're in command. And frankly, if your spacesuit's transceiver still works, you could save us all. Save you how? How many of you are there? This is embarrassing, but our platoon got lost in the desert, and the rendezvous deadline is 152 hours. Okay, let's join your platoon and hurry our way back. Sir. Sir, what is your name? I can't remember. Just call me Sergeant for now. Abraham. So, actually, this is kind of interesting. So, the alias that Burden went by in the opening of the game was Abraham. And, I mean, from the beginning it said Sergeant, so... I don't know if this is supposed to be a dream or what. Well, Jack's here too. So, maybe this is a... Maybe this is something that happens before. Sir, I found him while I was exploring the area. He's a sergeant with Everdusk, sir. Miraculously, he survived an air-to-surface orbital shipwreck. He offered his help, and the fact we could make good of his spacesuit's transceiver... Sorry, and the fact is we could make good use of his spacesuit's transceiver. It's still functional, sir. Is that true, Sergeant? Just point me in the direction, and I'll do my best to lead you there. This might be a sign of the gods. I thought we were damned to this place already. I'm Sergeant Abraham. It'll be a pleasure to follow your lead, Sergeant. Just Sergeant. Oh, sorry. In case you haven't noticed, I'm not very good at narration at this hour. Very well. To where, then? We know our base camp is southeast from here, but this desert is treacherous. Understood. Let's move. We'll rest when the sun is down. That could be a problem, Sergeant. The only time the deserts of Leiden are no darkness are when the sandstorms block out the sun. Excuse me? He's saying that Leiden has no night. The two suns keep the planet as deserted as it can get. Corporal Maslow was born here. The nomadic children of Leiden are tough as hell, so you'd be wise to listen to his advice. Our best option is to use as little water as possible. We should only drink when our bodies are crying for it. Sleeping under the sun is suicide. If we want to rest, we'll have to look for shelters behind the cool shadows. Oh, and there's also the fact that we're currently engaged in a full-fledged retreat from a war that we cannot win. We should watch out for rebel patrols and enemy camps. That's where our scouts can explore the terrain ahead of us. But time is of the essence, always keep that in mind. And what about your leg? Yeah, those bastards took it away from me. And desert sand is making it look ugly. If you feel you need to make any sacrifices, I give you full authority to do so, starting with me. Sir, what the hell? We don't even know this guy. Shut up and respect your commanding officer, Private. We may be marooned on this desert, but we are going to follow the chain of command. You can count on me, Sergeant. Both of you can. This desert won't forgive any missteps, and friendships won't save anyone out here. So man up, and let's move. So what are my options? Okay. I won't bother reading this stuff up. It's basically just explaining the mechanics behind this encounter. I almost kicked a guy out. Just okay. Combat. Any advice on desert combat, Corporal? Sure. Lean's deserts are vast and almost impossible to hide anywhere. So if we walk unexpectedly into an engagement, open conflict will cost us lives. No doubt about it. Not to mention that if we walk into an enemy camp without preparation, we're fucked. Wisest option is to scout the terrain first. As a group, we can be easily spotted. But a single scout can sneak his way through enemy lines and come back with a situation report. If we know what's ahead, planning the best course of action will increase our chances of victory. Just choose one of us to lead the attack and we'll tell you about our chances of success depending on the men you want to use. Also, explosives will notably boost our firepower, but they're rare around here. We should only use them when necessary. Thank you, Corporal. Also remember that fighting consumes a lot of stamina, so we don't want to send the whole crew over just to overpower the enemy. Okay, I got it. I guess I'll just do one zone. It's probably not so easy that I can just constantly scout out, but we'll see. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll just go as far east as I can. Let's just see. So Romero's... I won't get him to go another one. I'll just try and even it out. But this time I'm going to do a 4-zone explore. Okay, so water. So I think basically everybody should get water. Definitely taking a lot of time, but I kind of got to figure out how this mission works. So yeah, so we're basically just down 2. So we've moved 1 and we can afford 2 more. Thing is, I'm not quite sure how far southeast we're supposed to go. So this will be the 3rd, and then the 4th is to the... Stamina's not too bad. Doesn't look like people need water either. So at this point I think I kind of need to set another scout. Let's do south 4 zones. So one of the things I was thinking about... Oh, water. Oh. Okay, first saw nothing but desert. Enemy patrol. Desert, desert, desert. Okay. So I'll give some water to the one who's really bad, and then I'll worry about the rest. Did I just let him drink, or did I waterboard him? Okay, now I was originally going to go east, but I've got a wall now, so I can't... I know I'm going to have to do a fight. So we'll just send 3. It's been a tough battle. We've lost Grey Shock, but we won. We won't let his sacrifice be meaningless. Well then. So stamina's okay. Let's see where we are with thirst. Pretty much everybody's bad, except for No. Two clips of ammo and no water. I'm gonna try and get as much as I can out of these. I'm gonna travel 1 south and then I'm gonna let people drink. I wish I could know how much water we have left. Okay, anyway, sorry, I was going to talk about some other stuff. So one of the things that I thought was, that's kind of been on my mind, I was thinking a bit, was the I mean the idea of Twitch first of all, and you've got... I took a course on intellectual property, and the different things that we encounter. Oh, hey. Went too far. Captured by enemy forces, had 118 hours left, spent 27 hours traveling, 9 exploring, 3 gathering resources, 4 ration of water. Oh wow, I was really low on water. 2 explosives, 2 stims, 1 soldier died in the desert and fought 1 patrol and conquered no enemy camps. Okay, so I was too slow. So anyways, I was thinking about Twitch and just some of the different situations that came up. So, you know, it used to be a case that we would... we could basically play any music and there wouldn't be any consequence to that. And this was a thing that, you know, would happen with YouTube, and of course the owners of that intellectual property would have some, you know, they'd have something to say, and rightly so. Twitch is particularly interesting because where you could imagine I really wish I knew what direction I needed to go in this game. I'm actually just going to reset this and see what direction I need to go. Southwest. Okay, cool. So basically 4 zone westwards. So anyways, so what's interesting to me is for YouTube, you have okay, that's a good start. You have this idea of, how do I put this? Like, a director could theoretically make a complete feature film and put it out on YouTube, and whether or not, you know, he earned any, or he or she earned any money off of it is kind of up to them, but that's their original content which they've produced. Now, Twitch is kind of based around playing games, creating content entirely around games. Now, the developers as a whole are usually pretty happy to have something like this happen, and to me it makes perfect sense. You have... I'm gonna push nil one more round. You know, I can think of a lot of games that I have really enjoyed, and specifically got because I had seen them played on Twitch, and like it gave me an idea about what the game was about. I guess I should give him some water. It's kind of cool that they go very dramatic as far as their movements, though. It's a good indicator. Get nil to go south. But the main reason I've been thinking about the originality of content on sites like Twitch... Okay, looks like everybody needs water. Okay, enemy patrol. Remains... Camp. Remains. Probably a mistake to send just 2, but... I can't remember if the... I think it was... Remains of a Battle, then an enemy patrol. Sorry, I'll finish the point. This game is a little engaging, so I find it hard to sustain a thought while I, I wonder if I conquered the camp. This is also probably a point to do some sleep. Actually... yeah, I should probably... I don't know when I'm going to be able to sleep next, so... just do it for 3 hours. So anyways, one of the reasons why I've been thinking about this was this is actually a post that I wrote on Facebook. The Economist was talking about the concerns people have about the automation of work, which is obviously something that's been happening for a long time and something that continues to happen. Getting a lot of ammo, but I'd really prefer to have water. So for this, I think we... I'm figuring I'll just go the furthest distance in each direction that I can. Alright, we've got desert, water, desert, desert. Again, I love the water. I love the waterboarding rations. So one of the things that I was particularly focused on was the fact, kind of this idea of what creativity seems to be nowadays. This is gonna sound kind of like old, crabby old manish, but you'll have to bear with me. But basically, you have, I guess the way I could make like a, I don't know, a story of this would be, you have the 1970s, which is a really big... This isn't like... So this isn't an official story or anything like that, but this is the best way that I can articulate this idea. You have... the 1970s, which is a really dynamic time for filmmaking. You see a lot of great... great films made, things like The Godfather, Chinatown, and things like that. And there's a fairly interesting book by Peter Biskind called Easy Riders, Raging Bulls. And basically its argument, I mean, it's not maybe its argument, but the idea sort of underlying this book is you have sort of this generation of... I need to give him water. You have this generation of people who, went to universities to escape the Vietnam War. And, they wanted to do something easy, so they took they basically took film study style courses. And... the studios were looking for... Okay, enemy patrol, water, desert. Okay. I didn't go the direction that he explored just because there's no shelter there, so it's basically a death sentence. We're kind of flying blind here. I'll do one south and just hope it doesn't cost me. Game over. This is a tough mission. At least nobody died under my command, I guess. It's had lots of water. Yeah, that's a shame, actually. I really should have... explored. Alright, I'm really meandering on this point. I'm sorry for that. So, big thing here is great creative explosion brought on because of the desperation of the studio system and a number of filmmakers who were able to take advantage of that situation and make interesting films. I just need to see what direction I go. You know, the other thing I could do is I can always just do one unit ahead. I don't necessarily see... I don't see the direction I'm supposed to go. This is silly. So, you know, you've got Star Wars, Jaws, Godfather being made by these bearded brats, is the term that usually comes up. And then the 80s kind of reflects this, you know, a little bit more of a commercial imperative. I think Top Gun was an 80s film. You know, it's not to say that there aren't interesting films that came out of it. You have... Did I miss the location again? Okay. I'm gonna hold on this point again just until I find the direction I'm supposed to go. Northwest, cool. So yeah, it's basically 1 hour for each zone anyway, so it doesn't seem like there's an advantage to exploring multiple zones. So just as a whole, you have sort of this idea of a commercial imperative behind, let's say, some of the 80s films. I guess the good example I would maybe take would be you've got The Empire Strikes Back, the Star Wars film, where George Lucas hires his film school teacher, Irving Kershner. It's a really good film. And then you have Return of the Jedi, which is a product of the 80s. And... not to suggest it's a terrible film, but it's definitely one of the weaker entries, I'll say. Out of the original trilogy, it sort of seems to be a very different kind of beast. Okay, so it's going to be an enemy camp. actually, let's just see where everybody's sitting for stamina. Yeah, so there's no benefit really to worrying about the stamina. Let's see where people are doing for thirst. We can just go north, and that way we can skip the base. Oh good, then we get water instead. So I think kind of you can see the difference between the two eras when you look at the differences between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And again, it's not to say 80s movies are bad, but you generally think of more classics from the 70s and the 80s. Now we'll get on to something that's a little bit closer to the point that I'm trying to make, which is you've got the 90s, which is, again, by all accounts, if you watch the kinds of movies from the 90s, tend to be pretty good, and you see a lot of careers that are still, careers being made that are kind of still active now, such as Quentin Tarantino. And I mean, Quentin Tarantino is a fairly good sort of poster boy for this kind of thing, because you see, like, you get this idea of somebody who worked in a video store for however long, and it's got an enemy patrol. I mean, it'll take a while, but it's probably better to see. Yeah, we get more water. I want to see if he's critical yet. Yeah. This could be dangerous, like he could drop, but let's see. Now the thing that sucks here is I can't go north. It's all my scouts. No, not him. Now what's interesting about this one is that you've got a lot of pretty overt references to the 1970s, and there sort of seem, like, Peter Biskind also has a book about the 90s filmmakers called Down and Dirty Pictures, and this tends to be the sort of thing that like it talks about how these filmmakers sort of took up the mantle of, the 70s filmmakers. Everybody's looking pretty desperate. So in some cases you have things known as, a lot of people will call them an homage, but there's the, just generally this very conscious knowledge of what tradition they're following in. And it's not necessarily bad. One of my complaints about Tarantino actually is his like his first film, Reservoir Dogs, took a lot from Stanley Kubrick's The Killing. But what interests me is that Tarantino is always willing to give an overt reference when it's cool, but he will always hide his quote-unquote true references. So The Killing never actually gets a nod and a wink to the audience who who identifies it. And I think that's because without The Killing there is no Reservoir Dogs, whereas a reference to a sufficiently cool film that is right front and center, just to kind of show how much he knows. So that could be unfair, but it's something that kind of dampens the experience. I hope it's north. Yes, it is northwest we're supposed to be going. Okay. I like this idea northwest while I'm talking about films, the Alfred Hitchcock movie. So the thing that interests me about this is you have, very good films that are being made, but they have a direct reference to what came before. And then those are the times where you get films like Goodfellas and things like that. Which, again, is not to suggest that any of these are completely unoriginal films, but a lot of these tend to be reflections of other things. Like a really good example would be a movie called The Untouchables, where it's got a very direct reference to Battleship Potemkin inside of it. And it's obvious that it was intended to be a direct reference to Potemkin. Now, what particularly interests me about this is you have... Sorry, I'm focused on setting up the attack now, so... Jack makes it unfair, and yeah, we'll send Dr. Todd, why not? Hope they have something good. Just as we're getting closer, that's not helpful. They'll live. We'll see who's least thirsty out of my scouts. Oh, Rasmus is okay. Rasmus is not a scout, though. Nil, Romero, and Starleech. Nil bad, Starleech. Okay, well, we're all equally bad. Yeah, I'm gonna lose all my scouts if I don't give them water. Jesus Christ, I don't ever mean to give it to this guy. I mean to give it to the scout. I think that's pretty bad placement on the part of the developers, actually. So anyways, we're talking about 90s films and things along these lines. You can see the Grand Theft Auto series as, again, as fun as they are, they're sort of they are a story that is written by people who seem to have only ever looked at movies like Goodfellas. And so now it's not even, an homage so much as it's directly informing the kind of stories that are being told. Not a failing of Grand Theft Auto, but I mean, I'm not necessarily playing that game for the story either. And like comparing that to, let's say, something like The Last of Us or, Bastion, things that have pretty, there's universal acclaim as far as the quality of those stories are concerned. But that is sort of something in the, I hate to use this term, but it's something in the zeitgeist, it seems like, right? That these kinds of references, for lack of a better term, or not even references, but like the the derivation from these sources is just kind of the way that a lot of popular media gets made now. And I think the conclusion that this leads us to, and maybe the part where I would say that it's not that great, would be the idea of the meme. So at this point, we're not so much creating anything anymore. We just, we take the picture of the grumpy cat and we put a slightly different caption on it, and that's somehow a new piece of content. That's maybe where I start to have a little bit of a problem with what we're coming up with. And how this relates to the Economist article that I was talking about is, it seems to me the one thing that you can kind of, I guess, rely on, for lack of a better term, in as far as a job is concerned at least, is entertaining people. As long as you have a way of entertaining people, you're fairly secure from any kind of replacement. I think I'm going to lose people to stamina in a minute. I guess I have the stim packs, and my decision's been made for me as far as what direction I'm going. I just want to see what the result from this is, and I'll continue. Okay, well, it's great that we're getting water, but we really need shelter. Abraham, Starleech, and Romero. Oh yeah, I guess he was the guy who got neglected the last time. Now I think I'm going to find all my scouts are equally critical, yeah. I guess, actually, I'd rather do an explore north just in case. We go west then. Okay. So the, it could be a movie, it could be a Twitch channel, it could be a game. But I think as long as you have some way of entertaining people. What do you mean you don't have stim shots left? You didn't actually raise the guy. Okay, whatever. Anybody else critical? Gray Shock. Oh, good. We can finally get some rest. And we are sleeping the maximum duration. I don't plan on letting anybody sleep after this. So Jack, Sam, Rasmus, and Todd. What? Burden, of course, never needs water. No, don't give water. Greyshock keeps taking Starleech's water. So I don't like doing this blind, but I figure if we've got 2 camps, north and west, then I'm done for anyway, so... I guess it could be a patrol as well. No, got lucky. I think I should start using the transceiver a little bit more regularly as well. And I'm sorry, I had this thought in my head. I think the one drawback about playing a slightly more strategic game like this is I tend to lose the train of thought a little bit easier, so not too worried about shelter, to be honest, but at least I can move there. He can explore north next, and then we'll see how everybody's stamina is. I'm a terrible commander. Starleech. So we'll just send Romero north. Works for me. I gotta make sure Abraham doesn't have too much thirst. Okay, we'll get to the battle and I'll actually bother wrapping up the thought. It probably would have been better if I gave it, if it was a little bit more coherent, and I bothered to give it an extended dialogue. What I'm trying to do is talk a little bit more during these streams, but the drawback that I run into is I do get a little absorbed in the game, and without sometimes if I like if I have somebody in chat, it's nice to do the interaction. That works well for me. But if I'm talking on my own, it sometimes becomes a little more tricky. So Grey Shock needs some water. For cactus. Okay, so basically everybody who's on their knees gets water. It gives me a chance to spit the idea out. So the reason why I'd kind of been thinking a little bit about creativity and just the idea here, like the biggest thing is that I'm a little bothered by how when 2015 comes along, everybody's talking about how they're so disappointed there isn't a hoverboard. And I've never seen Back to the Future, I think it's 2, that has the future in it. But the big thing here is I've never wanted a hoverboard. I don't think it's a particularly good idea, but maybe that's just, you know, it's me being a curmudgeon. But basically, you know, it's the thing that bugs me is people seem to be doing this kind of thing or talking about this want because it's, you know, it's the done thing. And oh, I didn't want to go too zone. Okay, that's fine. I'll take advantage of it. Cactus and an enemy patrol. Okay. Oh, he's probably gonna drop, actually. No, I'm good. And I can't go north. That's a shame. Oh well, we'll fight the patrol. I'll add Starleech. I don't like the fact that there's a 3% chance that it doesn't work out, but it's what I have to deal with, so. Nope, I just lost the screen. 1 second here. This is a terrible stream. I'm sorry, guys. So I guess the big thing here is that I am, you know, if I would like to see Robert Zemeckis' view of the future, I can go check out the movie for that. What I'm interested in is, you know, your ideas, other people's ideas. Yeah, sorry, David. It's a little tricky just because of trying to get the trying to manage the game and get the idea out. I already expressed it on Facebook, so the ideas are a little bit scattered. Thanks for dropping in, though. I don't know how long you've been listening and hearing this disaster. It doesn't actually show me that you're here. I think Romero's done for anyway, so I'm just going to send him out on what's probably a suicide mission. Well, yeah, see, the thing that's... Okay, we get the remains of battle. I actually don't mind talking and playing a game at the same time. The drawback that I have is talking to an inactive audience while playing a game, because, you know, I certainly have my thoughts, but my thoughts tend to remain in my head. Whereas if I'm interacting with somebody, I can be a little bit more active. So I'm also getting a ton of emails, which is unusual for me. But I'm not too worried about emails interrupting the stream. I can always ignore those. But I was going to say, it's funny because this is actually a topic that's been on my mind for quite a bit. Just given the fact that nobody seems to make anything original anymore. And I find it funny that despite having this complaint, that I still think a site like Twitch is really entertaining and I really like contributing to it. But it does actually, I mean, the struggle that I'm having right now in terms of articulating the ideas is a little bit of an example in terms of why Twitch can possibly pose a little bit of a dilemma. Simply because, you know, what if I fail to discuss things with people, or if I fail to, you know, to provide anything of myself? I don't think he's coming back up. Oh, but he's talking. No stems. I think everybody's tired. As long as nobody's there. Oh, Sam, Greyshock, Rasmus, and Todd. Okay, basically everybody but Abraham and Starleech and Romero. At least I get to do a combat next round, so I don't so much need to worry about the scout. I'll add Rasmus to this. So, I mean, basically, if I fail to bring anything original of my own, especially to a game like Gods Will Be Watching, you know, what is this other than basically... sending out a free version of Devolver's and Deconstruct Team's game. If I don't really add anything original to the prospect, I'm not exactly like it's almost worse than a game just because you don't actually get the interactivity. We're moving further from the source of the signal. Okay, cool. So I'll do 1 north, 1 east, and we should be there. He's done. Okay, enemy patrol. I'll maybe give it... I'll give it to the end of this. We're obviously getting near the end of this playthrough, for better or worse. So let's let's see how this goes, and then I'll try to recollect my thoughts. Okay, so Sam's bad, Grey Shock's okay. So let's use explosives, because we haven't done those yet. Can't go east, Jesus Christ. I don't think I have any scouts left either. So I'm curious what happens if I just get Rasmus to lead an attack north. Oh, we don't know what's there. Okay, so, I mean, at this point, we just blindly travel. So we went further away when we went west. Oh, are you kidding me? That sucks. It looks like 2 hours left. So it seems really difficult to scout, and seems pretty difficult to scout and navigate as well. It looks like you need to take a chance on a couple of them. Interesting. Okay, well, let me just see where I am in the broadcast. All right, I'm an hour in, so you guys have been very patient in dealing with my rambling for a little bit while I go through this. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get up and stretch. So this will be my break, but I'll just talk to you guys for a little bit, and then I'll see if I can manage the Gods Will Be Watching a little bit better. This game is brutal. Did you see what happened yesterday? Right, so basically, so actually, give me a second. I'm going to write this in the chat because I forgot to do this last time. Really like the soundtrack for this game, though. More so the first mission, but just give me a second here. I've got a link for you. Well, for all of chat, for that matter. But I forget where it is, so I just need to use my mad Google abilities. So this was originally a game for the, I believe it's Laudum Dare. They kind of made this minimalist game, which was about being stranded on a planet with the Medusa virus, and you needed to. Yep, here it is. So basically, one of the chapters, the one that I was playing yesterday, was the original Gods Will Be Watching, which was only the wilderness survival game where you needed to repair the radio, keep morale up, and like protect against the creatures or the whatever, you know, whatever's in the wilderness that comes and steals your food. Then what they did, it was a fairly successful little game. The link that I just posted in the chat room, and I can give it to you on Steam if you don't see it as well. It was pretty successful, so they crowdfunded a full version of the game, which is the one that I'm playing right now. And that's where they added things like the hostage situation at the beginning, and they kind of fleshed out the story a little bit. I actually really like the story behind this. And apparently based on the feedback of this particular game, like the one that just got released, they actually released a patch which introduced an easy mode. So in the survival one, which I was doing yesterday, I basically repaired the radio. I only had to give up like one member of the crew, and I had this great little setup of like just hunting and cooking, and we were just waiting out the last days for the ship to come save us. And like there was an attack by wild beasts, and apparently if you have 0 ammo, you automatically die in that encounter. So like I had just a couple of days left, and just this total BS encounter comes up, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Like I couldn't even destroy the robot for extra ammo because I didn't have the ammo in the first place. It was really frustrating. So I wound up beating it this afternoon, but man, I was not happy. Like, to give you an example of how this game goes, the first one is a hostage situation where you need to boost up the hack and like just keep the guards at bay. You have 4 hostages. If you run out of hostages, you are like they storm the lab, and take you down. The next mission is a torture scene. I'll let you guess what you have to do for that. It's called 30 Days of Empty Words. Then there is one where you need to research a cure for the Medusa virus in like a collapsed tunnel, so you need to dig your way out of the tunnel and research the cure. And when you research the cure, you actually find out that there are 2 phases. So the first time I did that, I discovered the cure, the first half to the cure, and then like there's only an hour left, and they're like, yeah, now you need to move on to phase 2. And I'm like, what? So this is the Dark Souls of adventure games. Let's just see where we're supposed to go as far as the... Just gotta see the direction I gotta go. I did not read what direction I'm supposed to go. Northwest. So I'm going to try a slightly different strategy this time. I'm just going to take advantage of the low hour Anyway, let's see if I can talk about creativity again. The biggest thing is that I think everybody is just too worried about the appearance of what's cool or what's popular, and they're no longer, I guess they don't have confidence in themselves to express something original, which I think is a shame, because again, if people are concerned about being replaced by robots, entertainment is always going to be the way you can get out of like the way that you know you're always going to be providing value, and you know that you yourself are the source of that paycheck or that revenue or whatever it is, rather than, let's say, the fact that you're able to apply some algorithm. Like, this is an important thing in what I need to study in economics, which is, if I am just merely a guy who can run some regressions, then all they really need to do is, like, I run the regressions on computer programs, either Stata or R. R is a programming language, but I guess it's also the interface that they use for that. But all they really need to do is develop a program that will match the thing that, you know, quote unquote, the boss wants to know to the algorithms that I run. And then all of a sudden I'm not that useful. What would make me useful would be my ability to think originally about economic problems. You know, Thomas Piketty wrote a really popular book that nobody read called Capital in the 21st Century. And he took this idea that the natural progress of capitalism has been to, you know, have an initial increase in inequality as capital is added to society, and then the natural forces of capitalism bring equality back. And it's, you know, it's popular today because there are the concerns of Occupy Wall Street and all of these. Now, this is a guy who looked at what was considered to be a well-established fact of economics and brought more to the argument. He brought a broader level of data, and so as a result made a genuine contribution, and one that people value. So in this case, you can't get a computer to do that. And that was him taking something of himself and his concerns. Now, he did good statistics, and he probably knows how to run the programs that do that statistical work. But clearly the meat of what he's doing is not the regression. The meat is how he was able to look at the world, look at the thing that everybody else had been looking at, and say, you know, I know we don't have the whole story right now. Anyways, let's see what we've got waiting for us in the west. Okay, enemy patrol, desert, desert, desert. I need to use the explosives there just because I've run out of ammo already. One clip of ammo and water is not exactly what I was looking for. So I think it's 3 desert, so... Anyways, I think I failed to make the larger point that I was wanting to, but the biggest thing I just think is that I would much prefer it if people were less afraid to say what they were interested in, speak their mind, for lack of a better term, be genuine, and just stop trying to adopt other people's ideas of what they should be interested or what they should, you know, consider cool. Like the hoverboard thing, right? How many people, if they weren't allowed to hear other people's opinions on pop culture references, you know, they're allowed to watch movies and things like that, But if it wasn't cool to have this weird nostalgia for 80s stuff, I actually don't remember if Back to the Future was 80s or 90s. How many of them would actually want a hoverboard? And what this basically just comes down to, too, is the fact that I'm always looking for new forms of entertainment. I want to be entertained, and I think more people are capable of giving it than I think they give themselves credit for. But so long as they keep just holding themselves to other people's ideas of what's cool or what's interesting, we're only ever going to see, you know, largely derivative work. We're going to keep hearing about how, you know, we need more hoverboards. Okay, so we know that there's an enemy fort. I'm kind of curious what happens if I lead an attack, and yeah, okay. It tells me. Let's see what the signal says. Basically what I'm doing here is I am trying to get the most out of these times where the exploration only takes 1 hour each. And seeing if that gives me a bit of an edge as far as time is concerned, because I was really close to the time that the rendezvous needed to happen, but I was also really close to the destination. This is going to use a lot of ammo, but I really don't want to risk it. I think this would be a good time to rest. So we won't go for the maximum. So it's 2 hours. In this case, I'll just do the 1 unit, and then when it goes back to 1 hour. So again, here I'm taking advantage of the 4 hour, and it looks like he got blocked at the end. So cactus, patrol, wall. Should just leave them all. I know last stream I was talking a little bit about games that I liked for their spins on things. I think what's really interesting about Gods Will Be Watching is it's a bit like, you know, the Monkey Island games or something like that, but it's actually even simpler than it. But there's something, I mean, first of all, I think the music really makes it. But in addition to that, I just think there's enough of the story, and I think it's also the difficulty. I think there's just enough there that even though it's a very simple game, it's pretty engaging stuff. Like I legitimately enjoy playing this, and I really want to get. I want to see what the ending is like. Well, I might as well just send Jack because it's a guaranteed win. Oh, that sucks. No water either. So I think Starleech is in a pretty good shape. So I think that's an enemy fort. I noticed you went back online. Have you been getting your ass kicked in the original Gods Will Be Watching? Okay, good that there's shelter. Enemy camp, shelter, cactus. Wow, that's a really nice setup. Oh, you just bought the game? That's cool. I really hope you enjoy it. I think this is a really interesting title. So I have enough stamina that I can wait for the next rock to get some shelter. It also, I think there's probably going to be a sandstorm that I need to deal with. That's cool. What made you interested? Like, so obviously you bought it a while ago, but you never actually gave it a shot. What made you originally interested in it? Oh nice, 10 rations of water is great. And Starleech and Romero. Jesus Christ. He's always stealing his water ration. Oh, this is good. So we've got mission status if I need to know where it is. So great for water, not good for ammo. So here, I think we're actually just going to take the maximum sleep so we can get through the storm, and then, what was that sound? Oh, he killed himself. Jesus. This game is brutal. Yeah, that's my assessment of it too. It's absolutely, it takes everything from the adventure genre and distills it to its essence while still it has enough originality in it that it's not derivative of the adventure game. It's actually really funny because when you have Jane Jensen, I don't know if you remember Gabriel Knight, but I thought Gabriel Knight was a really interesting story and a really interesting game, but like the third one really wasn't that good, and she's been making new stuff, which has been financed through Kickstarter and that, and it's just none of it's good. Whereas this one, just like it's to the bone, right? There's not a whole lot that's technical inside of this game, but it's compelling stuff. So let's check the signal. I think we'll try going north. I just want to double check the thirst again. And you know, I think sometimes pixel art's a little overdone, but I think games that do it well have a special place in my heart. Desert, desert, wall. At least nobody's getting the Medusa virus. They remade it using all the technology that Jensen's other games are doing, and like I'm so not interested in the remake. Yeah, they absolutely did remake it. And it's like just because everything that she's done since has just been so disappointing as far. I mean, okay, I need to be careful when I say this stuff, right? Because obviously she is putting her, you know, I have to assume that she is making a game that she thinks people are going to enjoy, but I just don't think the games are, like, they're not living up to the potential that I saw in the originals. I think what I'd really like to do is check out The Beast Within in its original form. Okay, what's west? Scavenge, enemy patrol, desert, wall. Oh, you know what? They're probably gonna drop. Jesus Christ, I keep doing this. I guess I'll get him to lead the attack at least. I should have checked to see whether or not I gotta see that I'm getting closer or not. So the trick here is to make sure that they've got enough water to make sure I don't waste so much time on exploration. So, desert, scavenge, patrol, desert. Sergeant Burton is the water boy. Be right back. I thought you were going to bed. Don't mind you being here, though. It gives me something to talk about. Actually, it occurred to me you've already heard my rant about creativity. When I was talking to you about designing your own games. I refuse to believe it takes 3 hours to search a tank. H2O! You were drinking the wrong water. That was such a... probably not a very good movie. I don't know why I'm referring to it. I mean, it was funny at the time. Oh, drat, I didn't mean to use 8 hours for that. Cactus. One of the other things I was meaning to do is to try a solo cast tonight, but I don't actually know how good, like I don't know how much the voice carries between the apartments, and one of the things I would like to try and do eventually is bring a little bit more hype. Honestly, I don't really think that's my style of casting. I think I'm a little bit better at analyzing a Dota game rather than trying to bring the excitement in, but it'd still be good. Like, if I can do both, so much the better. Probably better not to excitedly talk about about the like, you don't want to do the analysis in a hype style, but I think it'd still be good if I could balance those two imperatives a little bit better. Okay, so we've got shelter, desert, scavenge. Okay, cool, so it's all safe. Kind of curious where his stamina's at. Yeah, it's just one guy. How much time do we have? 43 hours? Yeah, we can definitely afford to rest. I'll do the 5 hours because he's definitely going to be really tired. Yeah, not ideal, but I mean, technically I don't really need to be scavenging at this point, but as long as I can go north, and I definitely have time left, it seems reasonably intelligent to do. I mean, I have no idea how far away the base is. By the way, how's the game-to-voice volume ratio? I think because this microphone is definitely clearer, I can afford to raise the game volume if it's not good enough. So again, I'm not entirely sure it's a good use of my time to scavenge, but I know I was running out of ammo at the start, so I'm gonna do it. At this point, I'm going to make him go west. Okay, enemy patrol, water, desert. Okay, so we've got 2 patrols. I guess the patrols will give me both water and ammo, so it's just as well. Got some tired soldiers. I can't remember. It wasn't 2 patrols in a row, I'm pretty sure, but it doesn't hurt to be sure. Yeah. We'll check the signal first, though. So really running out of time. Definitely enough water. So I think at this point it's just exploration, and I'll make sure everybody's at peak. That's weird, I thought there were 2 patrols. I'm just going to start going 2 zones in each direction because I can't really afford to waste a lot of time going in the wrong direction. Cactus and a wall. It almost seems like this mission is designed that you're supposed to take a risk on going some directions, but I mean, every time I've gone a direction without checking, it's pretty much been an enemy encampment, so I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to do it differently. Maybe not scavenge as much. And because I'm a moron, I can't remember if I went north or west. I'm pretty sure I went north, but the way I can check is to do lead attack. If he says there's nothing to attack there, I explored. Yep. So. Oh my god, we won. Gods, we made it. We really did it, team. Now chin up. Go in there and ask for a beer. You fucking earned it. Sergeant, I want to give you something. What's this? I know that your identity was lost in that horrific crash. And with no dog tags, that could lead to problems with the Constellar Federation. They're not as friendly as they used to be. But you taught me the meaning of sacrifice. Thanks to you, I am alive. Because of you, Sergeant Abraham's mission has been a success. Accept this, and let him live through your deeds. Thank you, Jack. At your command, Abraham. So that it was not easy difficulty, this is just what they give you for achievements. This is original. Reach the camp with 7 members alive. Cool. Don't spend more than 25 hours sleeping. Oh wow, I unlocked a lot of achievements. Don't use more than 3 hours to travel between zones. Reach the camp before the estimated time of departure. Nice. So, hours spent... 58 moving, 46 explore, 41 gather. So I don't know, I guess this is saying the majority? It would seem to me it makes the most sense that people spend the majority moving. 5 to 7 survive, so most people do pretty well on this. Favorite soldier is S. Sam, my favorite was Jack. Well yeah, obviously, because Jack gives you more attack bonuses. I don't think people are paying attention to what the modifiers are. Sergeant Abraham suicided for a majority of people. I really want to know what triggers that, actually. And I completed it in 147 hours, which is more, it's closer to the average. I cannot believe that people do that in 40 hours. Alright, so let's see what the next chapter gives us. Suicide mission to save the world. Play dog. I wonder if that's Marvin. I was a fool to believe, to even dare to assume that the Constellar Federation would accept the terms. When we just gave them an excuse to create an even more propaganda for their military and gain support against terrorism. This has settled it for us. We'll never attain a free world unless we claim it by force. If we humans are the element that makes it impossible to have a free world, then we will remove ourselves from the equation. Cactus 7 will be the cradle of this new era. If the Constellar Federation doesn't respect life, we'll give life a fortress time, weapons, and a chance to evolve. If peace isn't possible, then we'll level the playing field and give the Constellar Federation a real war. Cactus 7 is just the beginning. Xenolifer, prepare to be hunted. Because we're about to become humanity's most dangerous enemy. Yeah, I'm sorry if you are getting some spoilers out of this. It's, I guess you only know how to get past the desert level now. Anyways, you were gonna die a whole lot in this game, I guarantee you that. Hope you enjoy it, though. Right. It's strange. I always become aware of my penance when I'm stuck inside this tomb. Such clarity. Oop, I don't know what that line was. These final brief moments of enlightenment. All of this is just a perceived reality, enacted over and over again. Only the stars bear witness to this perpetual anomaly. It feels like I've already made all these decisions before. And yet none of them. All at the same time. Always with a single hope. That the end of this will lead me away from will lead me away from that white sand. I think we're getting near the end if we're seeing the flashbacks. It's actually a pretty interesting little sequence. The hull has been damaged. We're losing oxygen. The antidote has been sealed by the computer. Everyone, don't forget your passwords. Doesn't matter anyway, Cactus 7 will be doomed in a few hours. What the hell is happening? The Federation must have made their move. No. This is Burden.